Good morning, children. In today's session, the chapter which we are going to take up is chapter 3 of your class 6 English literature book, that is the starting point. Now, those of you who might have ever participated in races or athletics at some point of your time in your school life or somewhere else will know what is the starting point. It is a point from where the race begins, no? So you remember how how excited you are, the thrill which you undergo when you're standing at the starting point, ready to go, into the field and run a race and win it. So we are going to undergo the same thrill and excitement along with Mr. Milkha Singh, who is the writer of this chapter. So if some of you might know, Milkha Singh is a very famous name, well-known name in Indian athletics. Athletics is the track and field events, the races and all that. So let me begin with the introduction of the chapter. I'm reading from the introduction of your chapter. So children, keep your book ready. Keep your book open on page 20, and just as I read, please look into your book so that you know how to pronounce the words. So Milkha Singh, also known as the Flying Sikh. So he was called a Flying Sikh. He used to run so fast, that is why he got this pet name, the Flying Sikh. Is a former Indian track and field sprinter. Now, children, former means earlier, who was in a track and field, and track and field is the places where the races are run, and sprinter is a short race, So he was a short race runner. He represented India in the Commonwealth Games in 1958 and the Summer Olympics Games of 1956, 1960 and 1964. So he has participated thrice in the Olympics, we can see, 1956, then 60 and then 64. As a child, he used to run 100 kilometers to school and back. So imagine, nowadays children, you people go to school by bus or by autos or by car, van or rickshaws. Imagine that time he was going to school and coming back every day, covering a distance of 10 kilometers, actually, which proved to be fruitful. His this time which he ran and to school, that time which he spent in running, that proved to be fruitful, that proved to be a destiny in forming his career as an athlete. So that helped him because he was used to running right from his childhood. So running came to him naturally. So running long distances came naturally to him. So it was very natural to him. In his youth, he joined the army where he was introduced to running as a sport. So earlier he used to run to school just to reach his school, and when he grew up, he joined army where he was introduced to running as a sport. There it was a sport for him. Having found his calling on the track, Milkha Singh went on to win several accolades for India at various international events. So when he found, having found his calling, underline children, having found his calling is a phrase which means, when he discovered, that it was his passion, it was interest, running became his interest. So later on he went on to win many accolades. Accolades means awards for India at various international events. He is best remembered for his fourth place finish in the 400 meters final at the 1960 Olympic Games. And he's best known for his fourth place finish. Although fourth place finish does not get any award, the gold and the silver and the bronze, they're just for the first three. But still, at that point of time, a country as India, um, the track and field event person, sportsman, reaching up to the fourth place was a big achievement. And for Indian also, it was a big achievement, and he is still remembered for his fourth place finish in that games. His fourth place time of 45.73 seconds became the Indian national record, and then was held for almost 40 years. So he was able to finish 400 meters in 45 seconds. Just imagine 45 seconds, 400 meters. And that became a national record for India, and it was not broken by anyone. Nobody could come up to that timings for the next 40 years. So we move on to the reading of the chapter, children. So the picture which you can see is the picture of the Olympic Games 1960 Rome Olympics, and we can see Milkha running, the Sikh running there at the fourth place. So, three fortunate incidents that occurred in January 1953 when I was a new recruit in the army changed the course of my life. So, he says there were three incidents which happened to him, which occurred in his life in January 1953 when he joined as a recruit. Recruit is a person who has recently joined army, and that changed the course of his life. That changed the course, the destination of his life. Earlier he had joined as a recruit, and he was supposed to just be an army soldier and all his life. But three incidents that changed the course of his life, and he went on to become an athlete in place of an army soldier. So we move on to the second paragraph. After the morning roll call one Saturday, there was an announcement that a 6-mile race was to be held the next day. So one day, after the morning roll call, roll call is attendance. Like you people attend your classes and attendance is taken same way. One Saturday there was an announcement that a 6-mile race would be held the next day, and all the recruits, they were supposed to participate in that. So all 500 recruits would participate in this event. The top 10 would be exempted from fatigue duty and be given a glass of milk every day during the training period. And the award for this race was that the top 10, the participants, the achievers, they would be exempted from fatigue duty. Exempted means they would be excused from that duty, and which was the duty? That was a fatigue duty. Fatigue duty, actually the word fatigue means tiring. So here the fatigue duty refers to the duties such as clearing, cleaning, cooking, and which were carried out in loose clothes in place of uniform. So first 10 achievers, the participants, they would be exempted from this duty, and they would be giving a training period, and during the training period they would get one glass of milk every day. So that was a big achievement in those time. India was not very rich, and people did not have the fortunate, they were not that fortunate that they could get glasses of milk every day. Like we people, it's a very common thing for you children. Your mothers, they run after you, they pester you with so many things. They add so many things to milk so that you can easily drink milk. But that days it was considered as a lucky person who could get milk every day. So the next morning, we reported at the starting line wearing canvas shoes, vests, and khaki shorts. So the next day, all the trainees, all the recruits, they reported at the starting line, and they were wearing canvas shoes. Canvas shoes is a shoes made of white cloth, And vests, the undershirts, and khaki shorts. Shorts are the knickers. Khaki is a color, the brownish color. And the whistle blew and we set off. So he says, when the whistle blew, they set off. Set off means started. Filled with a sense of mission, I ran as fast as I could. So he says he tried his best, he put in his best effort because he was filled with a sense of mission. And that sense of mission was, a glass of milk. He wanted that glass of milk because that days it was a big treat. Only lucky could get milk every day. So I ran as fast as I could. The reward of getting a glass of milk was a big treat for me, and as I had suffered great want and deprivation in my childhood. So he says it was a big treat because, in his childhood, he had suffered a great want, desire, and deprivation means he did not get much during his childhood because he was born to a poor family. And I took the lead in the first 2 or 3 miles. So he was filled with the sense of mission. He wanted to achieve the best place, and he took the lead in the first 3 miles. I would rest a while if I felt tired, and then run again when I saw others catching up. And he ran so fast that he got the lead in the beginning itself, and because he ran so fast, so he would get tired, so he would rest a while for some time, a few seconds, and then he would start running again when he would see others coming up, catching up. Luck was with me that day, and I finished 6th in the race. So he got the 6th place, and he considered himself to be lucky. The names of the 10 recruits who qualified were announced for a large gathering of almost 300 people. So the names of the qualifiers, the 10 recruits, they were announced in front of the large gathering. There was almost 300 people there, and all came to congratulate him. Friends and even strangers wildly applauded and thumped me on my back, shouting shabash. So he got so much of appreciation from not only his friends but also from his strangers. Many strangers came to applaud him. Applaud means to appreciate him, and they clapped for him and they thumped him on the back. Thumped, they patted him on the back. Shouting shabash. You all know what is the meaning of shabash. Shabash means when you're appreciating something. This is a word from Hindi. I was quite overwhelmed by the attention and appreciation I received that night. So he says he was overwhelmed. He became, so emotional. He felt so strong emotional when he got so much attention and appreciation from everyone, because never in his life he had got so much of appreciation earlier. And this incident became the starting point of my career as an athlete. So this was the first incident which changed the course of his life, and he says this became the starting point of his career as an athlete. So he was supposed to be an athlete now on. As part of our training, we had to run 6 miles every day. I eagerly looked forward to the end of the practice sessions when we would get the promised glass of milk. So this became a routine. Every day they had to run 6 miles, and and he looked forward to, he eagerly waited for the end of the practice session because he waited for his award, that is the glass of milk. Our instructor was Havaldar Gurudev Singh, who had been with the army for almost about 15 years. So their instructor, their coach was Havaldar Gurdev Singh, who had been serving in the army for the last 15 years, and he himself was an athlete. He himself was a good runner. Although his task was to train new recruits, he was a good runner himself, and he continued to participate in races. So although in the army he was serving as a trainer of the new recruits, but he himself was a good runner and he had participated in many races, and he continued to participate still. So we move on to paragraph 6. Gurudev was a taciturn, no nonsense kind of man. So, in this paragraph, Milkha Singh, he describes his instructor who was, very instrumental later on in appreciating him and turning him into a good athlete. So, he appreciates him, he praises him a lot, and he bows his head again in front of him. So he says he was a kind of taciturn and no nonsense kind of man. Taciturn means a person who was very reserved, very introvert. He did not talk much, he did not speak much. And no nonsense kind means he was very serious and he was always concerned about his work. His tough exterior hid his softer, gentler side. From his outside look, his tough exterior is the outside looks. From outside he looked very tough and very introvert who did not talk much, but from inside he was very soft and gentle man. He would run with us during training sessions, prodding us with a danda, shouting, "Run, boys, run." So he was so involved in the running, in the training of these recruits, that he would himself run with them. And he would encourage them by prodding them with a danda. Danda is a stick, and prodding means like he used to gently urge them to run faster, he used to encourage them to run faster and run for our regiment. And he used to encourage them by saying, "Running for the regiment." You all know regiment means a unit of soldiers, no? Army is divided into smaller groups which were called as regiments. So we have a Sikh regiment, we have a Rajputana regiment, we have so many other regiments. I strongly believe that he was instrumental in motivating me to strive to become a world class athlete. So he says, feels that he was very instrumental in motivating him. He became the good cause of motivating him to strive him to become a world class athlete. Strive him is to he encouraged him to work hard to become an athlete. Even today, when I think of his danda, I bow my head in respect. So even today, when he remembers his danda, his head bows down with respect. So we move on to the 7th paragraph now. 6 weeks into our training, the center had a cross-country race. So after 6 weeks, when there were 6 weeks had passed, the center had a cross-country race. That means a cross-country race was announced for them. Cross-country means which wasn't held on the track and field, but it was held in open across the fields. And in this event, Gurudev came first and I came second. Again, I became the cynosure of all eyes. I was 20 or 21 at that time, but I looked much younger. So he says, although he was 20 or 21 years old, but he looked much younger. And he was praised. He was the person who was the focus of that race. Although Gurudev was the person who came first, but he was the point of focus. Everybody appreciated him a lot. I was asked to take part in the brigade meet in Hyderabad, where I was asked to run in the 400-meter event. So then he was given a chance to participate in the brigade meet in Hyderabad, and there he had to run 400-meter event. I was greatly surprised because I did not even know what 400-meter meant. So till now, he had been running races in miles, always 6 miles. So he never knew what was 400-meter and what kind of race that could be. I had always run 6 miles, but it was during the brigade meet that the second incident occurred, which made me even more determined to become a good athlete. So it was here in Hyderabad when he went for the brigade meet. The second incident, he talks about 3 incidents of fortunate incidents. So this was the second one in Hyderabad, which gave him more focus, more determination to become a good athlete. In the first practice run in Hyderabad, I took off my canvas shoes and ran barefoot. So for the first time, he took off his shoes and ran barefoot. Barefoot means without shoes. Nange pair, no? Gurudev clapped his hands for me to start. I did and clocked 63 seconds. So Gurudev, encouraged him by clapping his hands to start, and he finished it in 63 seconds. He clocked 63 seconds, means he ran that race in 63 seconds. I was eager to run 4 more rounds. So he was very eager to run 4 more rounds. After all, that was what I was used to, running 6 miles every day. So because he was used to running 6 miles long races, so running a quarter mile seemed far too easy. So just a quarter of it, 1/4 of it, it seemed very easy for him. I continued to practice for many days to improve my time, and he went on to practice every day to improve his time so that he could finish it in less time. And soon I was running 400 meters in less than a minute, and he was able to clock the race in less than a minute.